Using content to brainwash yourself into success, it's possible, and I believe it's the best way to basically have a mindset shift. I'm going to teach you how to achieve it. So there's 3 scientific concepts which I would like to share with you, starting with number 1, mere exposure effect. What does this mean? Basically, if you expose one person to the smell of, lavender repeated amount of times, after n amount of times of exposure, this person will automatically develop a preference for the smell of lavender. What does the mere exposure effect say? It says that a person will basically develop a preference for a stimuli just because they have been exposed to the same stimuli over and over again. And basically, how are we going to tie content with this? Understand, you might not like a type of content, but it could be beneficial for you. So if you keep exposing yourself to that one type of content again and again and again, you will, after n amount of times of exposure, be having a preference towards that type of content. And it's scientific, you can't argue against it. The second concept which I would like to discuss is subliminal priming. Very simple stuff. When you are not focused, when you are not very conscious of the things around you, so maybe you are zoning out, you could be drowsy, you could be sleepy. Most of us, while watching reels, are like that. We are not focusing on the world and we are not focusing on the content. Sometimes we are half asleep while listening to a podcast. We are not focusing on the podcast, but it's still playing in our ears. Now, does this mean that these reels, outside environments, the podcast playing in our ears, does this mean that these things have no influence on us? Wrong. Subliminal priming says even when you are below a conscious threshold in your mental awareness, things around you still continue to affect your belief systems and your thoughts. And basically, even if you are not focused on the content, you are still consuming the content. The third is selective exposure theory. It's basically common sense at this point. Look, people want to selectively choose the things that they want to get exposed to. How does it tie up with content? You could be having a bunch of beliefs which may or may not be beneficial to you. What do? You want to reinforce those beliefs and tell yourself that, okay, my beliefs are correct. The question is not about correct or incorrect really. It's about beneficial or not beneficial. Selective exposure theory says that if you have some beliefs and there's content out there which reinforces those beliefs, so books, people who talk about it, videos, podcasts, whatever, if these things are conforming to your beliefs, you will watch that stuff. Now, how are we going to use this to get a mindset shift? Choose the beliefs that you want to have and basically watch those types of content. And so you are forcibly making yourself watch these contents, and so basically those contents might or might not reinforce your current belief, but they will reinforce some other beliefs. And so after repeated exposure, what happens is these new beliefs will be reinforced to such a height that your current beliefs that you think are indestructible will become irrelevant. And so I've taught you how to do it. Let me teach you how to select belief. Very simple. Look at your role models. Look at the content that you are watching right now. Are your role models watching the content that you are watching? If no, you got to change your content. It's hard to imagine Alex Hormozi watching Skibidi Toilet Shorts. And so basically, look at the content that you think your role models could be making or could be watching and watch that content, because those types of contents will automatically boost certain beliefs which have served this successful person. And I told you earlier, it's about useful or not useful. It's not about good or bad. And so these beliefs which have supported this rich person to get rich, this rich person watched these types of content to basically reinforce his beliefs. And so now if you watch these videos will bring new beliefs into your mind which are similar to this rich person who watches the content. And so basically, in the end, you and this rich guy, your role model, will have similar mindsets if you watch the same content. It's obvious. And so as you shift your preference of content, I'm not telling you to quit watching content altogether. Sure, use subliminal priming and watch reels, because when you're watching reels, you are not really focused on each and every single video. So you are in a subconscious sort of a state. And so when you are watching each reel, make sure that these reels are conforming to the beliefs that you want to have rather than the ones that you have which are not serving you right now. And as you watch these reels, what happens is, subliminal priming. These things are still influencing your belief systems even if you are not focused on them. Repeatedly watch the content which reinforces beliefs that you want to have rather than the ones that you have right now. And so unsubscribe to all the channels, all the whatevers, and subscribe to more education motivational content, subscribe to the role models who make content, and just consume a lot of that content. Automatically what happens is, in your head this mindset shift takes place, which basically gives you a mental imagery of a successful person, and you want to be a successful person, right?